All right, so we are going to define a new section for the column bracing. So I will go back to this area. Then I'll go to new section. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you.
So we go to this channel section. All right, so we want us to make use of this UAP. Then let's make use of UAP maybe 130. All right, 130. Then we call it column bracing. Column underscore. We already have a section that we call the column bracing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to differentiate them a little by adding another should I just say column BR like that. Let's leave it this way. Then I'll click on add. Then we close this. All right, close. So now I'm going to change this section to the new section that I just defined. So I will click on this. Then I will come to this area where I have this. Then I'll click the drop down and go to column this. And the section will change. Can you see? So in order to make the other ones look like this, I will click on this modified section. I'll right click, then I'll go to copy properties. Then I will start clicking the bracings like that. Or the fastest way to do this, I can maybe click on one, right click, then go to select similar by cross section. Then we have all the bar numbers here. So I will just Control C all these bar numbers. Then I will click on this new section. I will right click and go to copy properties. Then in this box, I'm going to paste all the bar numbers and I'll click on apply. Then everything will change automatically instead of doing it one by one. Are we together?
Yes.
All right. Then another thing I want us to do, which is very, very important for our analysis. Look at these coordinates, this Z, X, and Y coordinates. Your Z coordinates for each of these sections must always be outside your model. To bring out the coordinate for each of the member, you can click on this local system that you have here. When you click on it, you can see the coordinates for each member. All right. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to rotate the member and make sure the Z axis or the Z coordinate rather is outside the model. Like in the case of this member, you can see this Z coordinate, which is the blue arrow. It is pointing inside the model. It has to point outside. So to make it point outside, I'm going to click on the member. Then I will come here under the gamma angle. You see something like a gamma here. So you click on this plus to expand it. Then you begin to increase the angle till you have the Z coordinates outside the model. So I will start from angle 90. I'll press enter. You can rotate the structure to see clearly. Okay, it's pointing towards this direction. So we're going to rotate it again and type 180. All right, so let's rotate the structure again. All right, I think the blue now is, the blue arrow has to be outside the model. That's our aim. All right, I think we have gotten it. Now we have the blue arrow outside the model. All right, so in order to repeat this for the other columns along this direction, so we click on this, then we'll right click and go to copy properties, then we begin to click each of the column. The idea is to make sure the houses is outside. All right, cancel. Okay, also for the column reasons, the Z coordinate has to be outside as well. So we click on it, then we begin to rotate. Let's start with 90. All right, 90 is correct. So we leave it like that. Now to make it faster, we can click on one and select similar by cross section. Then we have all the bar numbers here. So we Control C now. So after that, we now click on this and we say copy properties. Then we paste all the bar numbers inside this selection. Then we click on apply. Right, so now we have the Z coordinates pointing outside now. All right, so that's perfect. So for the other side, we can rotate the structure. So let's start with the columns again. The columns are pointing outside, so this one is okay. So we don't need to rotate these columns because the Z coordinate is already pointing outside. The Z coordinate is the blue arrow, as you can see. All right, so now for the reasons, we do one. We try to rotate one by increasing the angle of rotation, 180. Then we try 270. All right, 270 is perfect. So now we need to copy the properties of this to the rest. Go to copy properties and begin to select each of the column reasons. Mind you, to make it faster, before you copy the column reasons to the rest of the axis, you should have done this. So that will make it faster. I hope you understand. Instead of doing it, instead of going through all these steps, are they being with done this for the first two. You know, all these all these ones don't have been necessary. But because we forgot to do it, that's why it's taking time now. Okay, so we can close this. For the rafters, the Z coordinate is already pointing upwards, so we don't need to modify anything. Even the pole lines, the Z coordinate is already pointing upwards, so we don't need to change it. So we'll leave it that way. Now, the next thing we are going to do is to, okay, we can switch off the local system now. So the next thing is to, our pole lines should rest on the rafters. It should rest on it. So in order to achieve this, we need to offset the, first of all, we need to offset the rafters. Okay, so we click on one, then we right click and go to select similar by cross section. Then we have all the rafters selected. Then after that, we can go to geometry. Then under the additional attributes, we can go to offsets. All right, so we then go to, you click on lower flange, then you click on apply. Oh, sorry, upper flange, sorry. Let's take it again. Select similar by cross section. We have all the bars here, so I can Control C. Then geometry, additional attributes, offsets. So we click on upper flange. All right, close. Yeah, this is what I wanted to achieve. Okay, now for the four lines to rest on these rafters, we click on one, right click and go to select similar by cross section. Then we have all the four lines selected. So again, we go to geometry, additional attributes, then offsets. Then we go to lower flange, apply, close. Now, as you can see, now the four lines are now resting on the rafters. All right, this is correct. So again, the column braces should also rest on the columns. All right, you can leave it this way anyway if this is how you want it to be, but you can also make the column braces rest on the columns as well. Hello, please, can you hear me? Are we together?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So if you wish, you can also make the column braces rest on the columns. All right. So how do we achieve that? You can do for one, then you copy the same property to the rest. So let's do for one and see. You can click on the two supporting columns. Then you click on one of the column braces like this. Then you can click on a new window. This is a new window. Then we have these three selected members. All right. So in order to see the plan view, then we can click the top. All right. So this is the plan view. We can also display the local system. Can display the local system by clicking this. All right. So now what we want to do is we want to shift this column bracing to the top, to this surface of this column. To achieve that, we need to know the dimension of this column along this the Z coordinate. So we click on the column, right click and go to object properties. Then we go to properties. Then you can see HZ. All right, so the height, the length of this column along this Z coordinate is 190. So if you divide 190 by 2, you have that's 80, 90, 95. So that means we are going to be moving this column bracing by an offset of 95. But before then, we need to move it first of all to the midpoint. Then from the midpoint, we move it by 95 to the surface. But how do we achieve that? To achieve that, we click on this column bracing. Then we go to geometry, additional attributes, then offsets. All right, so first of all, we need to offset to the lower flange. So we click on apply. All right, so to the lower flange, we try to move it to the midpoint. Then from this midpoint, we can now offset by 95 because the width of this column is 190. So if you want to move this to the surface, that means you need to move it by half of this column that we have here. All right, so now we need to set up an offset distance by clicking this new offset definition. Then under this UZ, we put 95. Since this is in millimeters, so we put 95 again. Then we label it and say maybe offset underscore 95 millimeter. Then we can add it. Then we close. Now this is the offset underscore 95 millimeter. But we need to highlight this this member. So we click on the member here. All right, so it is highlighted now. So we click on apply. Then it will shift to the surface of this column. Then we can close this and exit this window here. Now, as you can see, this has been shifted to the surface of this column. So in order to make the rest of the bracings look like this, we need to click on this bracing that we've modified and then right click and say copy properties. Then we begin to copy this property to the rest of the column bracings like this. Right, also for the other side, let's go to the other side and do the same thing. Okay, we do for one, then we copy the property to the rest. So for this, we click on this, 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 then we go to a new window. Then let's view the top area like this. We can bring out the local system as well. So we are shifting this column grazing. So we click on it, geometry, additional attributes, then offset. First of all, you offset to the lower flange. Click on apply. So we have it at the midpoint. So to move it further again, we go to offset by 95 millimeter. We have the offset distance already because what is applicable to the right side is also applicable to the left side. So to current selection, now we need to select the member and we click on apply. All right, close. Then we can exit this. Now we can copy this property to the rest of the column reasons. Almost done with the modeling. After the modeling, the next thing is to run the analysis. Okay, we are done with the column bracings. So now we can provide support for the columns. How do we do that? We can just go to the supports. We click on supports. Then and of course, the support system is going to be pinned because this is is a steel structure that the connection is going to be uh bolts, anchor bolt connection, and that kind of support is pinned. So we go for pinned support. Then for the current selection, we click inside this box. Then we select all the columns at once by dragging like this from the right to the left this way. Then you click on apply. And we can close this. So we have support for all the columns. We can rotate to see this. So we have support for all the columns. All right, so before we go further again, we need to model claddings for this structure. We need to model the claddings. All right. So in order to do that, okay, let's take this back to this. Okay, then all these offsets, we can hide the offsets actually. We go to display, then under the structure, no, model, you can hide the offsets by, you uncheck this box, then you click on apply. All right, cancel. All right, now we need to model the cladding for the structure. So we go to geometry, we go to claddings. All right. Now you can go for contour cladding if the shape is irregular. And if the shape is rectangular or square, you can go for this rectangle. Okay, now we have a perfect shape. So we go for rectangle. Then we start from here, this corner here. 1, 2, then 3. That's our cladding. All right. Can rotate. All right, for this other side, we need to go for the contour option because the shape is not a regular shape. Okay, so we go for contour, then we start from this corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we go back to where we started from, 6. So we have the cladding. All right, we can actually copy this cladding to the other side by using our copy command. So we click on this cladding, then click on copy. That's from here, then we click on this place. So we have the cladding. All right, we can do the same thing for this other one. We click on the cladding, click on copy. We can rotate the structure a little. Then we click here. Sorry, let's do it again. That's from here, then here. Close. Okay, we're almost done. For the roof cladding, which is also a regular shape, it's rectangular. So we go back to geometry, cladding, rectangle. So we pick the midpoint, this place, 1, 2, then 3. Close. So we can also copy this to the other side. And copy this to the other side by you click on this. Then we go to copy vertical mirror. I said copy mirror rather. So we vertical mirror, we click the midpoint here. Then we have it there. All right, so we are done with the modeling of the cladding. If you wish, you can, maybe you want to make all the structural members visible. You can hide your cladding by clicking this panel interior. So your claddings can be visible. Your structural members can be visible. Hello, are we still together?
Yes, we are still together.
All right. So now we have the claddings, but there's something I want to show you. The cladding, if you click on one, let's click on one of the claddings. Let's click on one. You can see the load distribution. We have two-way. If you make the load distribution two-way, that means the loading, after the application of the loading on this cladding, the loading will go to the column bracings. It will also go to the columns. Meanwhile, we want the loadings to go to the columns alone. And for the loading to go to the columns alone, you have to change the load distribution from two-way to either one-way X or one-way Y. So how are we going to know if we are to go for one-way X or one-way Y? This is how to know. First of all, you need to review the coordinate system of this cladding by going to, we right click, then we go to display. Then under the panel, we go to, what is it? Direction of load distribution. Then you click on apply. Then again, you go for mode. View, no, structure. I'm looking for something. Model, local system. If you expand this, you see local system. Then under the local system, we have the local system of panel. So you check this, then you apply. All right, now, so we have the local system of panel. The Z is pointing outside, which is very good. This is correct. But now, if you click on this panel, this cladding, we have it two ways. So we want to know whether we are going to go for one-way X or one-way Y. If you go for one-way Y, remember your Y is the green arrow and your X is the red arrow. So if you go for one-way Y, that means you want your load to be distributed upwards. That is to the column braces. And this is what we have been trying to avoid. So it's better to go for one-way X so that your loading can be distributed to the columns. So we go for one-way X. And this sign will change from two-way to one-way. You can see the direction now. So that the loading can go towards the columns. All right. So we do the same thing for the rest of the claddings. Click on this and change it to one-way X. One-way X. Which one again? This one. We want the loading to be distributed to the rafters and not the power lines. So which way? We go for one-way. If you go for one-way X, the loading will be distributed to the power lines. So it's better we go for one-way Y. So that because the one-way Y is a green arrow, so that the loading can be applied to the rafters. So which one again? This. Sorry. So click on this, and we make it one-way Y. One-way Y. Okay, this is correct. And this will be one way X. Then lastly, this one. One way X. All right, so we are almost done. We can hide the cladding again to reveal the structural members. All right, we can save our model, Control S. Our time is up for the first session, so please kindly join using the same link again so we can continue. We have less than a minute.